Well, it's kind of good because I can see everybody's houses and setup. So that's helpful. But so gang, my main training goal today is to work on gaining your dog's attention and working on down and preventing resource guarding, and also talking about all the ways that we can socialize the puppies even though we can't be in puppy kindergarten class. But what I first wanted to open it up to everybody is that open it up for questions as your dogs are in their settle spots. So I see Jojo has a nice bed there.
I don't know how to put on our camera.
I do.
Oh, there's Cleo. So Cleo has one of those beds. So Cleo's the German Shepherd. And actually, I'll show you my settle spot too. These beds that I really like.
You can try.
Oh, Pihi, go spot.
Yeah.
Pihi, go spot. Go spot. Good girl, stay. So with the, good stay, good stay. So in class, I've mentioned that I have you bring the towels just to make it easy for you to move the settle spots back and forth. But I really, really love these beds at home because it makes a very clear distinction of where your dog should settle and stay. It can be very, very helpful for the dogs. And for you, especially when you start working on your stays. Pihi, go, Pihi, hey, Pihi, go spot. Okay, then I'm gonna need you to turn that off. Pihi, go spot. Hey, good girl, stay, stay. So I love, love, love these beds. And you don't have to have the beds. Okay, Arietta, that's good. I also use the Kirkland beds around my house too. But when we start getting into a nice long stay, like with all my boarding school dogs, I'll get them on these beds. But anything's okay just to make a differentiation of where they should stay and settle and relax. So those of you that are new, good girl, that's a good girl. So those of you that are new, the settle spots is just a place where the dogs go and exhibit calm behavior. So they can either be in a sit, a down, or standing on their settle spots. But this is also a great way to prevent them from jumping on you when you come home, or it's a way to redirect your dogs. If you have company coming over, you can tell them to go settle, and they can go settle on their settle spots. And that prevents the jumping.
Settle.
Hi, Shonda.
How did that come over here?
Okay. Trying to.
We're getting too much darkness.
Ruby and Apollo. I'm going to put everybody on mute. But if you have a question, please raise your hand.
I have a hand. Can you hear me?
Okay, Rich, yes.
Anne-Marie couldn't get you on her computer.
Uh-huh.
So I know I've used Zoom, so I got you guys. I came on late, so I'm on a different feed.
Okay.
So we're
And
over here.
that's,
Oliver.
yeah, hi, Oliver. Yes, yes, yes. Great. Does anybody have any other questions? Hi, Lisa.
Hi. Jojo, lately when we've been walking, he is really attacking his leash and he's jumping up at it and attacking it. And then of course he gets tangled in it. I'm wondering if you have any tricks for stopping that.
I'm full of tricks. So to help prevent the dogs from jumping up on you, putting their leashes in their mouth, there's several different things that you can try, okay? So first thing is when walking, being proactive and rewarding the dogs for the good behavior of walking. Another thing that you can try is with your treats, you can toss the treats on the ground and tell him to find it so that he's looking for the treats on the ground instead of looking for to put the leash in the mouth. Another thing that you can try is if your dogs are good with toys, you could have them carry a toy in their mouth, such as a ball or a toy that doesn't have any stuffing. Sometimes they like to carry those things in their mouth. That can help redirect them from putting the leash inside their mouth. Another thing too, you might have seen me use in class is in my treat pouch. In my treat pouch, I'll carry a squeaker with me, and sometimes that can help redirect the dog's attention on the walks. And then yet another thing that you can try is if your dogs are jumping and putting their leash in their mouth out of frustration on your walks, is you can drop the leash and just step on the leash and then wait for them to stop putting the leash in their mouth and biting it. We'll also work on the behavior, leave it. I don't know if we've gotten to that behavior yet with Jojo. We have, okay, oh yeah, right. You can also work on the behavior, leave it, to have him leave things alone. And yet another thing that I have tried is I have a carabiner clip with me. Does everybody know what a carabiner clip is? I actually carry one of these with me in my fancy fanny pack, but if the dogs are just going crazy, is I might grab the leash and loop it around like a stop sign or something, and then just take a couple steps back and wait for the dogs to get their crazies out. So those are several things that you can do on your walks if your dogs are getting frustrated. But the biggest thing that I would recommend is if your dog is getting frustrated and putting the leash in their mouth is trying to be proactive and rewarding them a lot on your walks. And if you happen to know a certain spot where your dog does that, is reward even more with higher reward treats before you get to that certain spot. I'll send out an email to everybody just to make that really clear, because there was about 5 suggestions there.
Tammy, is that the same thing if she's walking nicely and then starts lunging in front of me repeatedly? Do we the same steps, or are there other things you'd suggest?
Yes, so if your dogs are, when you're walking your dogs, if they're just pulling, lunging, or trying to get at something, am I understanding that correct?
Well, it's more she'll walk on my left side for the most part, but then she'll start crossing in front of me. And it might be an attention thing. She's done paying attention, but it's frustrating for both of us because we're halfway home and she starts going in front of me the whole time. And not necessarily pulling, just running across the front.
So redirecting her and bringing her to your left-hand side constantly. And then you can try those techniques as well. Bring different treats with you on your walk. And again, you had just mentioned if you're walking home. So if you're walking home and you know that she's more apt to lunge and pull and cut you off, then maybe that's when you bring out your high reward treats and you're rewarding her a lot. And you guys, with puppies, or when you're training a new behavior, no matter how old the dog is, I feel strongly about lots of rewards. It's continuous reinforcement until they know the behavior. And with puppies, they're going through many stages and phases. So it's a lot of reinforcement on your walks. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
For Rosie?
Yes, that helps. And
And
I
then Jojo?
think we might be pushing it a little bit too much. And she's done with her attention. We're still trying to go farther, so.
Yeah, and that's an important thing too, gang, is make your walk short and positive. I would rather have you have 3 10-minute walks during the day than trying to take them for 1 30-minute walk at night, unless you know that they can handle it. The shorter positive walks are more beneficial. So when I have dogs at with boarding school or day training, is I'll take them, honestly, a walk might be 3 to 5 minutes as long as it was positive. Depends how bad the dog is. But I always want to end on a positive. And the mental exercise is just as important as the physical exercise, but sometimes can even be more tiring if you're working your dog's mind. Okay, any other immediate questions?
I have one.
Yes.
We have the opposite problem. Oliver, we take him on a lot of walks, but every now and then he sits and he's like a piece of cement, hard to move, and he just sits there and won't move. He did it at Petco too. Like if he doesn't want to leave somewhere, and we just have to roust him up and try and push him. But it'd be nice if we could just say something to him. You know, he just sits down and won't move.
Yeah. So with all these situations, gang, see if you recognize like a time limit, like your dog is good with 15 minutes, but then after 15 minutes, then they get a little more rambunctious, or I don't want to say non-compliant, but I guess that would be a good way. So notice the time and see if you can stop your walks within 12 minutes. That's an example. Or if there's a certain position or time of day, a certain place on your walk that your dog does that, try to avoid that place. Or that's again where you bust out your high reward treats and you give your dogs a lot of goodies on high reward treats before that time starts. Or pick up your pace and you walk with them a little bit faster. Okay. But Andrea, to help you with that specific question of the dog stopping, is what I do is, so I'm walking this way, my dog stops. What I'll do is I might walk a circle around them, or I might start walking the opposite direction, or maybe out to the side, depending where I'm at, to just get their mind in a different mind frame. And then we start walking where you want to go again.
Okay.
But the squeakies or the toys can also be beneficial. But also thinking on your walks, make your walks unpredictable. Our puppies are, oh my goodness, they want to investigate. They want to take in all the senses outside. So we need to be more exciting than what they might be getting distracted with outside. Or you know, if you are walking Oliver in the middle of the day, is that too hot for him, or there's no shade for the dogs? I also find that too. Some dogs just do not like walking in the middle of the day, especially at this time.
It's mostly just other dogs, or he simply doesn't want to, he wants to stay where he is. Like at a friend's, he will not move, but I can understand that just start throwing out the treats and, you know, getting them to, it's basically he doesn't want to leave somewhere, or he wants to stop with another dog because he really misses other dogs now.
I know. I'll talk about that today too, other options. But yeah, so if they don't want to leave somewhere, and that's a real common one too, so try to bust out the higher reward treats at that time, or I mean, put on your goofy hat and change the pace, walk a little bit faster. You might pick up your feet a little bit to make the dogs like, hey, wait a minute, she looks interesting, and want to come with you.
Okay, thank you.
Ted, you have a question?
Yeah.
Yes, Pa'u has started barking a lot at the neighbors across the fence. So he can't really see them, but he knows that they're there. And so I don't know, wanting to figure out how we can alleviate that a little bit.
Okay, so there's already a visual block for him. He can't see them very well.
Yeah, he
Mm.
knows that he can hear them, and he knows that there's somebody there, like if they're doing their laundry there outside. And
Okay. Okay.
They'll tell him, be quiet, shush, and then he's not. He just keeps barking, and then I don't want to give him attention for barking, and then, but I don't know what to do, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I'm going to answer that question, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to give us something that we can practice when I'm answering the question. And that's a really good one. And I have some ideas, but I'm also stalling a little bit so some more ideas can come into my mind. Because if they can't, that's my first suggestion for the whole barking thing, is make sure that they can't see out. So I'll think of some other suggestions.
Okay.
But today, gang, I want to focus on, and I will get to your questions, I promise. I want to focus on gaining your dog's attention and also the behavior down. So what down for me means your dogs are lying down, which are most your dogs are lying down right now. If your dogs are jumping, I say the word off and sit. A lot of times people say down, 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 but what down means, how I train it, is that your dogs are lying down. So how I see some of the dogs lying down right now, Ruby and Apollo are lying down, Cleo's lying down, Oliver, good, no hair. So my hand signal for down is a flat palm facing down, and I sweep my hand down. You might be at various stages of this behavior. Some dogs might not know the word down. Other dogs might know the word down. So I'm going to go through several stages of fading the food and also asking your dogs down with verbal cue only. Okay, so you're not having to use your hand signal. You're just saying down. So I'm going to start with the simplest first, of just training the down first. That's Peehee. We say she's our West Side Titta because she was found on the West Side and she's a Titta. So how you train down is you're going to use a food lure. And what a lure means is that your dog can see the treat, taste it, smell it, but they cannot have it down until they're lying down. Good down. Good down. Good girl. So once again, the treat is right at your dog's nose. You bring the treat down slowly, down, and then you reward. Now, I'm not saying the word down until Peehee is lying down, okay? Because otherwise, we're not associating the word with the exact behavior that you want. So I slowly bring the treat down and I reward. And where I reward, gang, is down in between her paws. Down, good, down. And then what's very common is that the dogs will pop up right away from lying down. But if you keep rewarding them down in between their paws, then they'll want to stay down there. Okay? Peehee, sit.
Can you sit?
Down, good, down. Okay, so some of you might be at that very, very beginning stage. That's stage number 1, where you're just getting them used to what the word down means, and you're reinforcing them for
Down.
lying down. Good, down. Say down, and just toss treats down in between their paws.
Down. Good.
Now my second stage, I'm going to show you all these stages before I watch you guys and give you guys pointers. My second stage is fading the food. So how you're going to fade the food is you're going to have treats in both hands. Piece it, piece it, piece. Good. You're going to lure them down, down, but then reward out of the opposite hand. Okay, so you have treats in both hands. Piece it. You lure them down, down, but reward from the opposite hand. Make sure that your dog understands that the treat is coming from the opposite hand. Hi, Oliver. Oliver's really studying hard.
Yes, he is. Come back here, Oliver.
Okay, now my next stage, you guys, is no treat in my lure hand. Okay, piece it. So I'm going to ask her down, down, and then reward out of my opposite hand. Okay, so this time she knows that she's just looking at my hand. I give her the hand signal, she lays down, but I still reward her out of the opposite hand. Now, if at any time your dogs are moving slowly or they're confused, you can always go back to the other stages. Okay, so after they're laying down with your hand signal, then you can start to randomly reinforce, which means sometimes they receive a treat and sometimes they don't receive a treat. And that's what will make a strong behavior. But I want you to fade the food as quickly as possible because we don't want the dogs to have to rely on food to lay down. Okay. Now my next step, if your dog is laying down reliably without treats, they are laying down reliably without treats. My next step is just to work with them with verbal cue only. I'll demonstrate this. With my verbal cue, how you want to train this, and I would consider this your fourth stage. Pihi sit. Pihi sit. You get them thinking down. So you get them thinking of what you want. But now your next step is pihi sit. Pihi down. Okay, she knows this pretty well, but my next step would be asking them to lie down, verbal cue only. If they don't respond to the verbal cue, I repeat it 3 times. If they don't respond after the 3rd time, then I give my hand signal again so that they can think, oh, okay, that's what I was supposed to do. And I'll repeat that. So if I gave my hand signal, I'll put her in a sit again, verbally ask her down. If she doesn't lie down, then I'll give, after 3 tries, then I'll give my hand signal again. But this is more advanced and actually something we work on in basic obedience and even in advanced obedience class. Sometimes people aren't even at that stage yet, but I wanted to give you the 4 options of training down. So what I'm gonna do is I'll have all of you work with your dogs and I'll answer questions. Oh, super treat, it's huge. And answer questions for you guys. So, okay. Okay, Lisa, I'm gonna start with you first. Well, actually, does anybody have any questions before I go to you individually? You can put him in your terrarium. Yeah. Nobody has questions? Okay, so Lisa, I'm gonna ask, okay, oops. I tried to unmute you the same time you unmuted yourself. Okay, all right, so with Jojo, how is he doing and at what stage is he at?
He's barking. He's got his down pretty well. Down. Down. Yes, down. But he has this excited bark that won't stop. He hears your voice and he can't find you, and then there's just like constant, like we can't get it to stop.
Yeah, so that's attention seeking, and right when he is being quiet, you can say yes and go ahead and reward him. Or if you've used the clicker at all, when he's quiet, you can click and reward him, or say yes and reward him. But I saw him barking at you earlier. It's the intense attention seeking bark. It's where you want to just ignore the attention seeking bark, but now reward him yes when he is being quiet. You can also say the word yes, or you can also say the word quiet when he is being quiet, and do this
Yeah.
to help with him not barking as well.
Quiet. Yes.
And then are those the treats on your couch?
Yes.
Okay, so is he staring at the treats, or he's staring at you guys, wanting attention from you guys?
There's three things. Sometimes the treat, sometimes us, sometimes he's hearing your voice and he can't find you. So
Oh, okay.
causing him to be really excited.
Yeah, I would use what I call a reward marker. So either your clicker or the word yes. You can say yes, quiet, and then reward him.
Quiet.
And then what's going to be important is that he doesn't bark, 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 and then you say yes, quiet, and reward him like immediately after.
Yeah.
So that he doesn't think, okay, I'm going to bark to get a treat. But what you will do is you do have to start somewhere. So right away, you're going to, when he barks, he's quiet, you say yes and reward. But then you're going to increase the duration between the quiet and the treat.
Quiet.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thanks.
Okay.
But his downs are pretty good. Mostly he does his down without sometimes he's on signals, but he's got the downs pretty good.
Perfect. So you can just do verbal cue?
Sometimes we need to do the hand signal, but while we were practicing while you were going, he was able to do it with just the verbal cue.
Excellent. Very good. That's very, very good. Very good.
Thanks, Tammy.
Okay, how's little Rosie doing over there?
She's pretty good at down. Especially she's very good if you use a hand signal, but she has to think about it if you're just giving verbal cues.
Good, yes, and I expect that because dogs are much more responsive to verbal or to visual cues.
Yeah.
So that's why the verbal cue is much more advanced.
Yeah.
But I thought, hey, we're in quarantine. We have plenty of time to work on this stuff.
She's getting there.
Okay, how was Oliver?
He's
He
pretty
was
good
doing
at
great,
all.
it seemed.
Can you see? Oliver, come here. Come here. Here. This is nap time, so he's having a hard time. Here, come here. Come on. Let's see. Here, down. Good boy.
Good. Good.
So I've done it a few times without any treats.
Perfect.
Maybe minding it at that. So
Good. That's what I want your goal to be this week, you guys, is even if you're just training the down behavior today, if this is brand new for you today, it's very realistic to get to know treats by within a week. So I really want you guys focusing on that. And those of you that have already trained the down, then I want you to do verbal cue only.
okay. Good boy.
Okay, Arietta. Noha seems to be doing pretty good on her spot.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. Kaden is showing me some giant funky caterpillar he found.
Arietta? Oh, good girl.
Sorry, I didn't know I had to turn the volume on.
Yeah, that's okay. So she's
Yeah.
doing well with the visual cue. I see that.
Yes, she's distracted. She's got her little cousin that came. She hasn't been able to tell her hi. They're outside barking, the little dogs. And come here. No, yeah.
Oh, see? Yeah, that's
So-
good.
Getting her breakfast on her settle mat.
Working with the distractions.
Sit down.
Oh, perfect. Very good. Very good.
Our issue later when you want questions is again, we'll leave it. So when you're ready for that, come back. And,
Okay. Okay.
okay. I'll turn my-
Okay. Pa'u and Coco, double trouble. Here, I'm going to unmute you here. Or I can't unmute you.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, there you go.
Can I have the truth? Oh, here. Okay, Sadie's doing the practicing here.
Got big. Oh, good. I think he just needs a little more room to lay his belly all the way down.
Did you hear that, Sadie?
Very good. Very, very good. So Sadie, do you understand how to start fading the food so that the puppies don't need the food?
No, she said
Okay.
no.
So what you're gonna do is you're gonna have treats in both hands. And I can't tell, is that Coco or Pa'u?
That's Pa'u.
Okay, so with Pa'u, you're going to, he's doing well with going down with the treat. But then what I want you to do is I want you to reward him out of the opposite hand. Okay, so you're going to ask him down how you've been doing, but then reward him out of the opposite hand.
Just go on his tummy too.
There you go, down. Good, 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 good. And you really want to make it apparent that that treat is coming from the opposite hand. Oh.
Okay, so you have treats in each hand, right? So he knows you have them in. Oh. Tummy.
Ooh, good boy. Down. Good. And then Sadie, you'll want to remove your lure hand and then bring in the other treat hand, like a little more apparently. So like you brought him down with the lure, but then take your hand away and maybe count to 2 or 3 in your mind, and then go ahead and reward him out of the opposite hand. I want him to really understand. There you go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
I want him really to understand that the treat is coming from the other hand.
Okay. Say it loud so he understands, right?
Good.
I mean, how loudly do we have to say the command?
Just so you think the dogs can hear it.
Okay. Because she tends to be softer.
Yeah, I could actually hear her say down quietly,
Okay.
and I think that's okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right, how's Coco doing?
Okay, Coco's turn. Okay, Pau needs to go. Let's see this. They're chewing on each other. Okay, Helen, sit down.
Coco.
Coco.
Good girl. Oh, good. Good, good, good. Yeah, that transition is pretty easy to fade the food, but then again, you start to randomly reinforce the dog. So sometimes they get a treat and sometimes they don't get a treat.
Okay.
So I'm gonna come back to Cleo, Ruby, and Apollo in just a minute, but I'm also going to give you guys another exercise to work on with your dogs before I come to Ruby, Apollo, and Cleo for the down behavior. But it's gaining your dog's attention. One good thing about the Zoom classes is it makes me clean my house a little bit. Okay. So gaining your dog's attention on our walks, we'll say the word look. And what look means is that your dog should just look up towards your face. So those of you who have been in class, you've heard me already say, anytime your dog looks at you, look, you'll say the word look, bring the treat up to your eye, and reward. Now, I personally like training this behavior, first of all, in the house before training it outside. So you'll have a treat in your hands. You'll put your hands behind your back. And the moment your dog looks at you, look, you'll say the word look, bring the treat up to your eye, and reward. The reason why we bring the treat up to our eye is we make our eyes the reinforcing things. Good, Peehee. Look. And after you practice this for a while, then you can take it out into the real world and ask them to look when they're distracted. And that can be a great way to help redirect the dogs on your walks. Peehee. Peehee. Good. So again, in the house, you just have the treats behind your back. Look, I'm waiting for her to look at me. As soon as she looks, I reward. And gang, as simple as this behavior might seem, I find it's a very important behavior to help redirect your dog's attention on your walks. So I show you in class several different things that you can do to help gain your dog's attention and keep their attention. But this is definitely one of them. So you guys can practice your look exercise. I'm going to go to Ruby and Apollo for the down. Hi, Shonda and John. First of all, it's good to see you two. The puppies sure have gotten big.
Look.
Yes. So is Ruby the dark one?
Yes, Ruby's the dark one.
Okay.
We're getting some feedback here.
Oh,
So you moved into your new house and it looks like you have a perfect puppy spot.
Oliver, look. Look. Look.
So let's go ahead and see down. Oh. There, good. Good, Ruby. Good, good, good. Very nice. So is that a new one for you guys? The down? Okay. Well, it looked like Apollo got that right away. I don't know if he just slid on the wooden floor or if that was a fluke or what. But that's good. And then, you know, make sure that you're working with them separate too. So right now, make sure the girls are working with that behavior as well. And all of you will receive a recording of this class. So if you wanted to show your family or whatever how to work on the behaviors, that's good. So with Ruby and Apollo, this is their very first class. So you're just really going to get them used to laying down, but fade the food by the end of next week, okay? All right, Marissa, sorry for such the wait. Miss Cleo.
That's okay, she's gone now.
I know, she was doing so well the whole time.
Down. Yes.
Ah, yeah, good, good. And so you were using the clicker there?
Yeah, I have it.
Very nice, yeah.
I have
Yeah,
a question.
Yep.
I have a question about the look.
Yes.
Do we start to, because Cleo she'll look at me, but I think she knows that if she looks at me, she'll get a treat. So she'll look at me for a second and then look away. So is she supposed to be looking at me a little bit longer than a second, or do I just kind of progress?
You can progress, so you can wait. So maybe if she's looking at you for 1 second now, Maybe start waiting till she's looking at you for 2-3 seconds before you reward her. And what'll happen is that she'll look at you quickly and do what she knows quickly. But then the more that you wait between times that you reinforce her, then she'll be like, hey, Mom, why isn't this working? And she'll look at you a little bit longer then.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to come back to the barking situation. So first of all, if your dogs are barking, I always ask, why are your dogs barking? So in Pa'u's case, he's barking at the neighbors doing laundry or being in the yard. So my next suggestion would be, if your dogs are barking, is turn off the TV. And what that means for me is that you would close the door, or you would close the shades that your dogs are, the window that your dogs are barking out of. You would, if they're barking in their crates, sometimes I cover up their crates. But Pa'u, they're outdoor dogs, and it's kind of hard to cover up the visual. So what I would try doing there is I would call their names, or Pa'u, Pa'u. If he's quiet, I would say the word quiet. And then if you can, go ahead and reward him. Now, I'm not sure how close the neighbors are to Pa'u. If when they ask him to be quiet, if you could give them a bag of treats and be like, can you reward Pa'u for being quiet? I don't know if that's possible, but that's an idea. Now, if he's not being quiet, with just trying to redirect him with your verbal, hey, Pa'u, Pa'u, quiet and reward. If that's not working, what you could try doing, and this is my last resort, especially because you have Coco as well, is you could try using a noise deterrent. I think I talked to you about the shake cans. So a shake can, aluminum can with pennies or pebbles inside, or a plastic water bottle with pebbles or pennies inside, and shake it and just say quiet. And then when they're quiet, you can go ahead and reward them. The only thing there is that then Coco is hearing the sound adversive as well. So I'd like you to try redirecting maybe with, hey, Pa'u, Pa'u, a whistle, or clapping your hands. But sometimes that noise deterrent with the shake can be really beneficial. And then, is it possible for the neighbors to give treats, or?
Yeah, so that's one thing I was thinking might help, is if they kind of introduce each other or get introduced. And then, yeah, we could ask them if they could help by giving them some treats. So yeah, we could try that, because it's like between a bamboo fence, so they can kind of see stuff, and they probably could get treats through there a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so having Coco next to him it does make it harder, because especially she gets, yeah, so it's like, if they're making noise, they're outside my kitchen window, and it's very close to the neighbors. And so we do tell him to be quiet.
Yeah.
But I'm inside and by the kitchen, so it's farther away. So that if we go outside, then they're like all excited because we came outside to see them.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. And so,
another thing that you can just try doing is just letting it, hey, Pa'u, okay, thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know. Sometimes I'll do that, and you don't have this opportunity, but I'll call the dogs back inside. You don't have that opportunity, but just saying, hey, thank you for letting me know. I see somebody's out there. But if your neighbors are willing to reinforce them when they're quiet, that'll be important that you tell them, is reinforce them when they're quiet, then that hopefully will be helpful.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and then the other thing, Ted was going to move the kennel a little bit in hopes that would make him farther away.
Yeah, and you know, with is it chain link kennel?
Yeah.
So they do have those things that you can weave through the chain link that makes that they can't see out of, or maybe you could just put a tarp on that side. But I don't know if
yeah, I feel like it's the sound more than but I mean, we could try it and see for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so that's some tips of things to work on.
Yeah. Good. Arietta, it's 10 o'clock and my basic obedience class starts right now. I do know you have a question on Leave It. Can I answer that question real quick? Or I'm more than happy to email you or call you, and Marissa, I'll call you today.
Okay, well, it's something we can tackle next week. It's just that she does it, she won't do it unless I go in the house and get a treat for her. So I have to resort to sit down and stay to get something done. But that's okay.
But out of her mouth?
Out of her mouth what?
Is that what you mean for Leave It? To try getting something out of her mouth?
No, Leave It. She attacks, it's the broom when I sweep. And I have to do a lot of sweeping because of water, and I have to get the water out of the area she's in it playing. So she won't leave the broom alone. She'll do Leave It, but I have to go in the house and make sure I have treats on me in order for her to do it. She only works on treats. Now she'll do sit and stay and down without treats, but Leave It is, I don't know, it's just, that broom just takes over.
Oh, that's a fun game. That's a fun game. It's like a chase game for her. You know,
It's a
that's like, you know, it's a moving toy.
Correct.
It's a moving toy for her. So yes, having treats and being able to toss treats out and reward her for leaving it alone. And then really work on that stay while you're sweeping.
Yes. Well,
that would take your stay to another level.
Yeah.
But being able to toss treats out around the broom, I mean, that's, I have the broom and the vacuum cleaners. Normally the vacuum cleaners, I think it's more of a scary sound thing, but
she does avoid the vacuum. Thank goodness she doesn't attack that. But yes, I'll keep working on it. I thought maybe you had another idea or something besides food.
Yeah, put her on the stay. Put her on the stay, and don't expect to sweep the entire stay. Don't expect to sweep the entire stay, but go ahead and reward her, you know, several times when you're sweeping.
Okay.
So gang, I need to wrap it up here. Your homework is to work on look and down. So fading the food to your down or working on verbal cue only. And settle. So settle is just a calm behavior on your mats. And sit for everything. You're going to work on sit for everything. A sitting dog is not a jumping dog or a bolting out the door dog. Okay. And I thank all of you for being here. I really appreciate seeing all of you guys and persevering with training even through the quarantine. So I'll see you next week. If you have any questions, definitely shoot me an email. Or if you have questions of what you're doing, you could videotape yourself and send that video to me and ask me, hey, Tammy, is this correct? And I'm happy to help you that way too. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Tammy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.